resistance and journaling, or in my case, journaling and resistance. This is a video response to Natalia's hashtag breaking ice, and it's regarding journaling, journaling for personal development using tarot, and the resistance to it. And let me tell you, I had no idea that it was resistance. I just figured I was lazy, or you know what I mean? It's like, it didn't occur to me until I watched her video that it really is a resistance. Let me start with my first, showing you my first tarot journal. This is my tarot journal that I was going to use for learning tarot. Now, let me preface this by saying, yet again, I've been reading tarot for over 35 years. But for me, it is one subject that never gets old, and there's always more to learn. So, and that's what keeps me interested in tarot, is that I never feel like an expert. I feel like an advanced reader, I feel like an experienced or seasoned reader, but I never feel like a master reader or someone who knows everything. And I'm never going to feel that way. And I'm really happy with that, because that means that this hobby or this practice is going to stay with me for the long run. And it has. Oh my gosh, it's over 3 decades already. So here we are. This beautiful, isn't this cute? Oh my gosh. So I got this at the dollar store because at least a couple of years ago. Wait. This is my tarot journal for learning. This is the tarot journal where I'm going to add the traditional meaning. The whole point is this will hold the traditional meanings, what I glean from other books, what I glean from other readers, watching YouTube, what I glean, and then my experiential meanings, what I've gleaned over almost 4 decades of, well, 80s, 90s, okay, over the course of 4 decades, reading tarot, what I've gleaned from my experiential meanings of, when I see these symbols, when I see these cards, what transpired afterwards that then I related back to a reading. So this was supposed to be a reference book. And I'm going to show you why it's supposed to be. Look at it. It's like brilliant, right? It's got 5 tabs, major arcana, and the 4 suits. Adorable, except for the fact that I made a mistake and I started at the beginning of the book, where I should have kept the beginning for notes and stuff like that, and then start the books afterwards. But instead, the notes are going to be at the back, which is all I have is notes. Oh, wait, hang on. I'm sure there's writing in here somewhere. So these are notes. And these are my notes on astrology and zodiac spread, which is my favorite tarot spread that I've been using forever, since the 80s. And then you have the rest of my book. Stop me if you've seen this before. I have no reason why there's no content in this book. I have only excuses. I don't have time. I don't feel like it. So this is just for like this is for like tarot theory. Okay? So let's talk about journaling for personal development. Journaling my readings. I'd never done that before. And it's something that I started 3 years ago. This is as far as I've gotten in my journal. You've seen my journal before. My resistance here is because, let me backtrack. It was going to be a bullet journal. And then it just didn't work out for me. I didn't do anything with it. Then it became my tarot journal. And still, then it became my tarot journal because I wasn't using it. So this was my year ahead spread. Everything in these boxes, there's nothing profound here. This is all surface. This, in fact, is all how the notes I wrote in the boxes turns out, when I look at it, I say, it's just notes on how the cards were predictive of things that would happen throughout each month. How did I break the ice, though? I decided that I was going to approach journaling differently. For years and years and years, I maintained a prayer journal. And it's basically where I would write what I wanted to manifest. So it falls somewhere between goals and affirmations. So that kind of thing. It was a tiny little book. I still have it. And then I stopped that practice. I then had another journal, which I still have, where literally it's like just outpouring stream of consciousness. It's the situation that I'm in, and what I would want, how I would want it to change, and what I want to bring into my life, and what I want to shed away. And I gotta tell you, that thing reads like Nostradamus, because Nostradamus is probably not the best example, but it reads, when I go back and read that journal, I see the mental process where I took the situation, where I unloaded onto paper the situation I was in. For instance, there's a whole section on career where I just unloaded in that journal about what I just had enough of. And then after I unloaded, I then journaled about what would be my ideal situation. And I gotta tell you, it reads like a manual of what happened next. You know what I mean? Like, I manifested everything that I wrote that I wanted to change. So that's that kind of journal. But I still resist, for whatever reason, journaling my tarot readings. And I think that it's because I can journal the external. Oh, it rhymes. I can journal the external, manifesting these external, I could journal about external forces and situations that are external to my internal life or whatever. I can journal about changing and transforming my external environment, my orbit. But when it comes to journaling about my internal, transforming my internal life, it seems the only time I'm able to journal is when I'm experiencing extreme stress and extreme stress, despair, those kind of feelings, anxiety. And this is the hashtag breaking ice point. If you could start with writing in what I did, not you, I'll tell you what I did, because we're all individuals, right? I'm just hoping that if I share with you what I did, you may be able to use something. I began by journaling in my tarot journal my fears, the emotions I was experiencing, the mental state I was in, and basically journaling about it as though I was writing to God, the universe, guides, spirit, whatever you call it, and just unloading. They were all I sentences. I feel like this. I am afraid of this. I have concerns about this. And just unload. And I have to tell you, just by unloading all those fears, already you feel better. You unload them on paper. And then I would pull, after unloading all those feelings and thoughts and all that turmoil onto paper, I would pull a tarot card. And when I started this practice, I was in a place where I needed to use a very gentle deck. So I used this one, and it's the Guardian Angel Tarot, now by Bradley Valentine. And I'm sure many of you who have this will agree it was always by Bradley Valentine. The other author's name was on it probably to sell more of them, because this is all his energy. But I was in such, when I began my practice, when I broke the ice and was able to start journaling, I was in such a state of mental confusion and anxiety and overwhelm that if I would have used any other deck, I wasn't even able to use any other deck. I wanted something gentle, something that would spell it out for me, because those of you who may not know, look, these cards, the suits are all changed. Major arcana have changed quite a bit, the names and everything like that, but it follows traditional tarot meanings, traditional Rider-Waite meanings. And I have to tell you, it was tremendously healing, and it's something that I will continue as a practice, and I hope that it brings me to a place where I can start. Then I still don't journal my daily draws, my daily readings. That's a work in progress. I still don't journal the weekly. No, not the weekly. I haven't even started the weekly yet. I don't journal about the monthly, which was my year ahead spread. So there's still some resistance, and again, it's like that focusing on the surface because it's safe. But I do journal what I'm feeling, especially negative emotions, negative thoughts, fears, anxieties, worries, about anything at all. I unload it in my journal, and then I draw one of these. And I will share with you, not the whole litany of what I wrote, but on August 28th, I journaled. I just onto paper some things that were really weighing heavily in my heart, on my mind, that were really I was having so much difficulty at that point. And the card I drew was the Helper of Abundance, and I wrote down, and after I unloaded everything that I was worried about and concerned about and was afraid about, and all my anxiety and fears and all that stuff, I then ended that journal entry with, "Please help me." And I think this is where the ice broke for me, because I drew a card And oh my God, let me try to find that card. It's a good thing I wrote it down. Healer of Abundance from this deck. And Healer of Abundance is the Queen of Pentacles. And I gotta tell you, if I had drawn the Queen of Pentacles from my beloved commemorative centennial Rider-Waite, which is my go-to deck, I wouldn't have had the same insight as I did with these. So I think for journaling, it's also the intuitive part comes in with choosing the right deck to spark. The Helper of Abundance. Oh no, sorry, Helper of Abundance, not Healer of Abundance. Scusi. Helper of Abundance was the Page of Pentacles. I'm telling you, people, I appreciate that you're still here, because there's always something that's not quite right. I'm always not quite right. Okay. Let me see if I can find this card, which I really should have had, ready before I started recording. And when you're looking for a tarot card, you see all 78 of them, but not the one you're looking for. See what I said there? Because you don't see the one you're looking for, and you pass right by it. Good thing these are color-coded. Okay. So this is the card that I drew. Are you still with me? Thank you, because sorry, that was not exactly, you know what I'm saying. Thank you. And this hit so accurately that this is what broke the ice for me to then delve and really start to peel back the onion and finding out, well, why am I feeling this way? Why do I have these fears? Why do I have this resistance to what's happening in my life? Why am I having resistance to surrender, to surrendering? Because for me, it's a work in progress. Surrendering for me is a constant work in progress. I am always trying to control everything, because that just comes from not being able to control anything when I was growing up. That as an adult, it's like I grabbed life, and need to control it. And that is impossible. So I'll read you what the card said. Although you have a lot to do, it's important that you get organized first. See, this was, from the first sentence, it was, Once planning is complete, you can roll up your sleeves and get to work. Your guardian angels surround you and are ready to help out. This card also indicates a very loving, kind, and loyal friend, someone with a big heart, a quick wit, endless patience. That person could be you. This sounds so superficial, but for what I had journaled, what I wrote down, and the state of mind I was in, this broke the ice. This was that aha moment where I could have just said, okay, and put it back away, put it away, close up the journal. Instead, this was the aha moment that led me down that winding path of figuring out, one, why am I resisting these changes in my life? Two, what is all this fear that why do I have so much fear and trepidation? And back to the resistance, like it was really winding, where I just kept coming back to fear and then resistance, fear and then resistance, fear and then resistance. And it was, and then I would just draw a daily draw card or whatever, and I would I would, okay, well, what's the fear now? What's the resistance now? What's the solution? And the solution, every time I journaled about this specific subject, the card was inevitably, if it wasn't every time, it was every other time, the Hangman. And it is through journaling and and journaling that my card was the Hangman, that I kept saying, okay, sacrifice. What do I need to sacrifice? What do I need to sacrifice? And then finally, just from journaling and talking about what my experience has been, and then things started to go right. Things were starting to work out slowly, and were getting better. And then I saw it. Which I could have, which surprised me that I didn't see it from the first time the Hangman appeared. The answer was surrender. Not sacrifice. Surrender. And that for me was a huge icebreaker for journaling, tarot, for self-development. And at this point, like I said, I'm only able to be consistent when it comes to working out my feelings. And it's not a daily practice. Because any of you know, any kind of personal work like that takes a lot out of you, and you have to be in the right headspace. And if you're not in the right headspace and you're not willing to you get what you put into it, right? You get out of it more, but you get out of it at least what you put into it. Well, if you're putting in the bare minimum, then you get the bare minimum, and it's all surface shit, and then it's like you're just using paper for nothing, is how I feel. But that's just me. Well, if it's just surface, it's not something I could look back on and actually use and remember the lesson and build on it. It's just card meanings, right? Which we all know how consistent I am at writing notes about card meanings. So I hope this ramble was helpful. I hope that something I shared with you resonates or is helpful or guides you in some way. I look forward to watching VRs and reading on Instagram and and all that stuff. See with the discussion, how it opens up a dialogue, and or like an open discussion about this subject. But there is one more thing I wanted to add before I finish today, is that I had to give up my journal being pretty. I had to give that up because if I mentioned this in a previous video, I had to give up it being pretty because otherwise I wasn't going to utilize my journal, and I wasn't going to get what I needed to get out of it. So I had to let go of the fact that, look, it's not going to be beautiful, but the content is solid, and it's content that I can refer back to and feel like I can still get something out of it, even months after I've written something down. So I think for me, it's the trade-off is good. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to please share your comments below. If you post a video, I will come and see it, because make sure you put the hashtag on your video so that I could just click on it and come see. And wishing you all a beautiful day. Bye-bye.